certainly made me appreciate it when I was reading the book. Questions?
Sorry, I'm just a factual thing. You say it's historical novel. So what are the actual dates? Can you say the actual dates that yours takes, the actual takes place?
The dates are really from the end of 1955 to 1959, but the crucial dates are 56, when Mr. Bandaranaike came to power, really to 1958, where there were this series of ethnic riots. And afterwards, actually 59 is just mentioned that he was actually assassinated by a Buddhist monk, or the Buddhists had actually got him into power. But because he'd come to power on a coalition, everybody expected favours once he got there, and he wasn't able to deliver, and that caused a lot of problems. So really, there was a kind of fracturing right from the sort of top of society right down to the bottom, which I found very interesting.
How soon did you start after independence?
Well, they had a really quiet period after independence, and that's what I thought was very interesting, because India had its boundaries redrawn anyway by us, I think, and at independence, at partition, there was terrific bloodshed overnight. It was absolutely instant. And I think in a lot of ways Ceylon then thought it had got away with it. And when you read through the history and the documents, they were far more concerned in a lot of ways with left-wing and extreme left-wing parties coming to power. And there was a massive general strike at one point, and the politicians were far more concerned about that. They almost seemed to sleepwalk into this kind of ethnic tension, and it started off with an argument, with a row, about language, which sounds ridiculous, but they brought in what was called a Sinhalese Only Act, which meant that the official language of the state was Sinhalese, and that rather, in a way, disenfranchised the Tamils, who were very much minority but quite powerful, who were English-speaking, and ran the English-speaking civil service. So, it changed everything overnight. It's extraordinary how, one Act of Parliament can make a huge political difference, and that's really what it was.
But it is also a love story. Two love stories.
Two love stories, yes.
Two beautiful love stories and funny stories. I mean, I love the policeman who spends his time reading detective novels, even though at the end the tone changes. It's an incredibly rich novel. Any other questions? Yes?
When you were talking about the magical realism, did that emerge in your novel from the gods and from what you'd seen in the situation in Ceylon, or was it something you were conscious of from other reading?
It was a bit both, actually. Because of this very complex political, religious, ethnic background, I had to find a way of blending it all together. And I'd been reading the Iliad, and I thought, this is amazing. This is so pertinent to what I'm trying to do, because I felt that the ancient Greeks had this wonderful way of writing, and they'd actually be writing about a battle and what was going on, at sort of human level. But they didn't waste time on going into the sort of whys and wherefores of how it all come about. It's very useful to say, well, it's the gods interfering. So you'd actually see the gods on a different level, sort of making plans and alliances and whatnot. And their actions having an impact on what was happening down to a human level. And I thought, that is a fantastic vehicle for a very complex situation. So you can make it human. Because what I really didn't want was a history textbook, and Geraldine's quite right, it isn't all about history and politics. That really is the background. The foreground is people and their relationships with each other. And there's a kind of interface, the gods in this are quite handy because they're an interface between all sorts of different facets of the book. So it kind of came from two different areas, really.
Did you...
And the gods as the ones who can provide the solutions in the end.
Well, they don't in this. They're actually quite naughty.
Did you know from the start that this would turn into this?
No, actually it really didn't. It was just going to be a novel set in Sri Lanka, just about people, purely fictional. And as I went through it, I thought to myself, what on earth am I doing? I suddenly realised I was writing about somebody else's culture. And I was halfway through it, and I thought, I can't abandon this, but I owe it to people to really, really get a grip on what was going on then. It's insulting to write about somebody else's culture and just treat it like a travelogue. You just shouldn't do that. And at the time that I was coming to this conclusion, we met some old school friends of Rohan's. And the lady was an academic, and she said to me, if you want to know about the culture and the anthropology, you read this, and this. And it really, that's also actually where I read about Huniam, the demon who turned into a god. It really did happen. I was fascinated because you found that people like Mr. Bandaranaike is sort of very educated, but he's very Tony Blair-like. He kind of, he made himself into the kind of person that he thought people wanted to see. So he started to worship at this cult shrine, and all the cabinet ministers started to follow him. And the governor of the central bank got so carried away, he used to run around on all fours and perform extraordinary antics, and he got so embarrassing in the end that they sacked him. So his religion went a bit far in that case.